So you want to stop overthinking and shut down that voice in your head? But you're tired of every guru just telling you to let it go while your brain is literally short-circuiting? You're in the right place. I don't care whether you're stuck thinking about that dumb joke you told to your crush, what that text really meant, or if your friend secretly hates you. If you really want to have control on your thoughts, there is one very simple formula that you must master. I call it the Grimm formula. I'll explain the Grimm method in a second, but before I reveal this secret formula, there's one thing you really need to get, especially if you're tired of hearing the same old just positive crap. To stop overthinking from its root, you first have to accept that your mind is going to think. Sounds simple, right? But it isn't. And hold on. I'm not about to tell you to just write down 3 things you're grateful for and call it a day. This is deeper, a little darker, and honestly way more helpful than pretending your brain is a sweet little puppy when it's acting more like a crazy animal. You need to see that most advice is designed to make you fight your own brain. They give you these boring, useless commands like, just think positive, or distract yourself. Yeah, great plan. Let me just show you how that spectacularly backfires. For example, let's say you're overthinking a big presentation at work next week. You're terrified of screwing it up. So you follow the guru's advice. You try to distract yourself with movies. You write, I am confident on paper, and you even try a 5-minute meditation that just turns into 5 minutes of you thinking about the presentation with your eyes closed. You've actively pushed the fear down all week, but what happens when you're standing up there about to speak? That fear you tried to bury doesn't just disappear. It comes roaring back 10 times stronger because you never actually confronted it face to face. Your brain isn't stupid. Trying to suppress a thought is like holding a beach ball underwater. You can push with all your might, but the moment you get tired, it doesn't just surface. It explodes into your face, soaking you with 10 times the anxiety you started with. So if holding that beach ball underwater is just going to backfire, how do you actually calm your mind? Well, this part is going to sound totally crazy, but just listen up. You have to get weird. You have to stop being the terrified homeowner and start being the curious scientist. You're going to invite the monster in, offer it a cup of tea, and ask it what the hell it wants. And where do you start? Forget watching tons of YouTube videos promising 5-minute calm or buying another damn journal that'll just get dusty. The answers aren't out there. They're already running wild inside your head. Those gurus want you to buy their expensive courses. But you know where the real power comes from? It comes from facing the chaos in your head with a plan that's as strange as the problem itself. And now that you're ready to face the chaos with a plan just as strange as the problem, it's time to actually learn the damn thing. Say hello to Grimm formula. Grimm stands for greet, record, investigate, redirect. Greet is the period when you literally greet the thought when it shows up. Think of it as the main piece of the puzzle. It's the moment you finally stop fighting. I know you're not happy to see the thought, but you're also not slamming the door in its face. You're just calmly acknowledging that this annoying guest has arrived at your party. The goal here isn't to solve anything, it's simply to stop the immediate panic and resistance that makes the thought stronger. You're now changing your position from being a victim of the thought to being a neutral observer of it. For example, let's say you get a 1-word text from your friend or partner like okay or fine. Your brain immediately lights up with 1,000 questions. Are they mad at me? What did I do wrong? This is it. They hate me, and our friendship is over. Instead of letting that spiral of panic take over, you just greet the thought. You don't have to like it, you just have to acknowledge it. Internally, you just say, there it is. They secretly hate me, thought. Welcome back. You don't argue with it, you don't believe it, you just note its arrival. This works for any situation. Here's a classic one. We all know those 3 a.m. thoughts, right? When the house is quiet and you're supposed to be sleeping, but your brain decides it's the perfect time to pull up a slideshow of all your life's anxieties, starting with your entire career path. Am I in the right job? Well, what if I fail? What if I'm stuck here forever? Instead of tossing, turning, and trying to force yourself to sleep, you just greet it. Hello 3 a.m. career anxiety, I see you've shown up for your regularly scheduled appointment. By doing this, you take away its power to shock you. You treat it like a predictable, boring visitor. In both cases, you have successfully stopped the panic cycle before it could even get started by simply acknowledging these thoughts. Next, the R in Grimm stands for record the raw thoughts. This is where you let that non-stop voice in your head talk, but this time, you're in charge. Get it out of your head and put it down on a paper or a voice note. Let it be all the raw, unfiltered thoughts, whatever comes to mind. Don't try to be nice or make sense. If it's crazy, write down the crazy ones like, Everyone hates me, or my dog thinks I'm a loser. I'll probably get sick from my phone, and I'll definitely say the wrong thing at the party and have no friends left. The more wild it sounds when you write it down or listen to it, the better. This is not a gratitude journal where you list nice things while your brain is screaming. This is about giving that crazy voice a chance to speak so you can see what's going on. Usually it's just your brain making up stories about the absolute worst thing that will probably never happen. For example, imagine you post a picture online. It's the one where you thought you looked pretty good. And it gets like 3 likes in 24 hours. One of them is from your mom. Your brain immediately starts its attack. This is where you record the meltdown, no matter how stupid it sounds. You grab your phone and write it all down. Okay, so it's official. Everyone hates my face. My crush definitely saw this and has probably screenshotted it to show all their friends how cringe I am. Even my dog is embarrassed for me. I bet my Alexa is about to play All By Myself out of pure sympathy. That's it. I have to delete all my social media, fake my own death, and move to a remote island to live out my days as a hermit who only talks to coconuts. When you see those words written down, you can finally see how completely ridiculous they are. The thought that felt so powerful in your head looks like a badly written comedy script on paper, and boom, you've successfully separated yourself from the thought. Then comes I. Investigate its intent. And this is a big one. This is where the accepting part comes in. Now that you've let the anxious voice speak, you have to become a detective. And ask yourself, what is this thought, this feeling, this whole spiral really trying to do for me? Even the meanest, self-harming thoughts often have a weird protective reason behind them, even if it's a bad one. What if that I'm a failure thought just a clumsy way to protect you from getting your hopes up? Or maybe that everyone is watching me thought is an old echo from a time you felt unsafe, and now your brain is trying to keep you on high alert. This isn't about repeating super fake positive sayings. This is more about digging deep and being honest with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Ask yourself, is this a helpful reminder to be careful, or is this just your brain stuck on an old, useless fear? You're now looking for the reason, not just the thought itself. This step shows you that the thought, no matter how weird, isn't just your brain being mean. It's an old part of your brain trying its best to help you. And finally, the last letter, M, which stands for redirect. Yeah, like you're a traffic cop for your own brain. This is where you take all that buzzing, negative energy from your fear and give it a new path. You're not trying to kill the thought. That really never works for anyone. You're just telling it, hey, you're working for me from now. You're not fighting your brain. You're just playing chess with it. Let's walk through a classic example. Suppose you want to ask out your crush, and now your brain is going nuts, absolutely convinced that if you ask them out, they'll laugh in your face, all your friends will find out, and you'll have to move to another country and change your name. But you already did the investigation step and figured out the real fear underneath all that drama is just a simple fear of being humiliated. So now you redirect it. You talk directly to that fear and say, okay, brain, I get what you're trying to do. You don't want me to get laughed at. Good looking out, buddy. I appreciate it. And then you hit it with the twist. You realize your brain is thinking way too small. It's terrifying of you asking one little question, so you decide to short-circuit the whole system by thinking way, way bigger. You're going to out-weird your own already weird brain. You take all that energy you were spending on the fear of hearing no, and you point it all at the biggest yes you can possibly imagine. Just a second ago, your brain was having a total meltdown about asking them out for a coffee, and now you've made that fear completely pointless because you're not planning a date anymore. You're busy planning the wedding. You're picking out flowers in your head. You're debating what song should play. You're no longer thinking about asking them out. You're thinking about how you're going to propose. All of a sudden, who cares about the fear of asking someone on one date? That's nothing. It's a tiny little ant next to the giant elephant of planning a whole life together. You've made the original fear so small that now it's practically invisible. You see what you did? You took that stupid, paralyzing fear about one afternoon and turned it into an exciting plan for the next 50 years. That's how you break the overthinking cycle. You don't just face your fear, you laugh at it from way up high because you're focused on something a million times bigger. So that's the whole playbook. Greet, record, investigate, and redirect. That's your new 4-step move for when your brain starts doing that thing where it tries to eat itself. But let's be real. This isn't some magic pill from a late-night infomercial that'll fix you by Tuesday. Sorry to break it to you. This is a skill. It's like learning to ride a bike, except the bike is on fire and you're in hell. So, it will take practice. And if you're serious about finally getting a handle on your thought, you have to be ready to get weird with it every single time that overthinking spiral kicks in. You think this whole thing sounds insane? You know what's really insane? Trying to fight a fire in your head by repeating, "I am a calm, peaceful pond," while you can literally smell the smoke. At least this plan acknowledges the fire is real. And it doesn't ask you to pretend it's not there, it just hands you a fire extinguisher. But listen, this whole thing is completely useless if you just read it. Think, huh? Cool. And then go back to letting your brain use your skull as its personal punching bag. Information you don't use is just background noise that quickly fades away. So it's absolutely mandatory that you actually do this on a regular basis. The very next time your brain starts that nagging, looping nonsense, you have to at least try the first step. Just greet that sucker. That's it. Just start there. So this is your official permission to get weird. Start treating your brain like a dumb friend. It thinks it's helping, but it gives terrible advice, so you have to be the smart one. Now go on. Your brain has a weird plan to ruin your day. It's time you had a weirder plan to fight it back.